In this video, we're going to be going over setting up, well, we're not going to be creating a particle system, we're going to be using a already made one, but we're going to be playing a particle system explosion as well as an explosion sound on the client, as well as applying damage on the server when an actor, well, when the grenade goes off, and if an actor is inside of the sphere. This is really quite simple, and there's not a whole lot to it, so we can go ahead and get started. What we're going to be using is inside starter content, particles. We're going to be using this explosion particle. And as for sound, we're going to be using explosion 1 or explosion 2, doesn't really matter to me anyways. But the types are going to be, actually I brought them up here. So the type is going to be sound base that we need to include for the sound, and the include for the particle system, we're going to be including a particle system component. So in our grenade header, we can go ahead and add these in. So we're going to make a U property. It's going to be a class, U sound base. I'm going to call this one explosion sound. And I want to do the same thing again for the particle. Explosion particle. Yeah, I think it's particle. So it's going to be a U. I'm not going to even begin to try. Particle system component. Then we need to include them. So we're going to include particle systems component header, as well as the uSound base header, just like so. All right, let's set up the particle system. So that's going to be a explosion particle equals create default subobject U particle system component particle system component. All right, like so. And that's pretty much it for right now. So we can go for the effect on the client. So we're going to do the effects first, and then we're going to move on to doing damage on the server. So for the client, we are going to, let's see here. We can play the sound. Well, let's do the particle emitter first. So the particle emitter is explosion particle. And you'll see activate right here. Reset, I'm just going to leave that to false. And that's pretty much what's going to do that initial play on our explosion. And since we're destroying the actor after this, it honestly doesn't really matter. All right, so we're good there. Let's go ahead and compile this. All right. Back in our blueprint, we have our explosion particle effect. So for particles, we're going to select the explosion. As you can see, when I compile and everything, it automatically, even if I press to simulate, it automatically plays it. So what you can see here is the activation tab, auto activate. We're going to turn that off. And now you see when I simulate it, nothing happens. And that's what we want. Everything else we pretty much leave the same. So we can go ahead and go back over here. So now we have our explosion particle. Gonna reset its location. And you'll see it is now in the center of the mesh, which is what we want. Sometimes if you don't have it where when you try to reset the location and it snaps to the center of the world, even though you have it set to relative, for example, world snaps to their relative, snaps back to where it's supposed to. Try restarting closing down the editor, recompiling, and then reloading relaunching the editor, and triple check. That'll sometimes fix it, because when you're messing around with header files, and sometimes even doing stuff in the constructor while the engine is open and you compile, it can bring up some issues, which is why people also generally recommend you close down the editor, compile, then relaunch the editor. But anyways, we should have it to where it does do the effect: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5. All right, there's our explosion effect. Now we have to do the sound. So we have a sound base, but we need the function to play sound at. That's off of U gameplay statistics. So U gameplay, I need to include it. So to include that, it is include, it's the Kismet gameplay statistics. So U gameplay statistics, play sound at location, then the world. So get world, then the sound, which is explosion sound, then the location, which is this, get actor location. We're not going to bother with the rest of the parameters because their default values are fine. So now from here, I'm going to do a simple check. So if explosion particle, so making sure that's valid before we do it, and if explosion sound, and make sure that's valid, just to be on the safe side to prevent a crash. Now let's compile. Then we will set the sound and see if we can hear it. But I am not recording. Nope, I'm just recording my microphone. I'm not recording desktop audio. So you actually won't hear it. But here we can set our explosion sound. Do explosion, we'll do explosion 2, compile, and save. And you're just gonna have to trust my word on here. I'll let you know if I hear it. So throw, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5. And I did in fact hear it as it went off. All right, so that's a good thing. So we have our explosion and our sound playing. Now we can actually go about applying damage. So the thing about why we use the sphere component is if we go off the explosion sphere, you'll see this function here. So just search for actors, you will see get overlapping actors, and that is all the actors, dang it, overlapping actors. That is all the actors that are currently overlapping with the sphere. So as you can see, the parameters is it puts out into a T array of an type A actor, and then we can filter it if we wanted to, which I'm not going to bother doing right now. So first we need to make that T array. So T array type A actor. Let's see, overlapping actors. And we're just going to pass that in. So now we have our overlapping actors. Now we can loop through. So for a actor, actor in overlapping actors. So we're going to loop through. So if actor, if a survival character, character equals, we're going to cast it. So a survival character from actor. Kind of went brain dead there for a moment. So this is if the character is actually an actor. So what we can do is we can call our character, and I have to include it. Cool. What's it called? Survival character. Character. There we go. Take damage, and then its parameters. So as for the damage, we're just gonna just flat out kill him. this is temporary. We're going to eventually make it distance based as well. So the closer you are to the grenade as it goes off, the more damage dealt, and that kind of thing. And same thing with detections to make sure you're not on the other side of a wall, the explosion's not the floor above you, and that kind of thing. So what we can do is we pass in the damage, F damage event. Just gonna not worried about it. A controller, null pointer, and damage causer. This. All right. Now let's compile and see if we take damage, because we should die, simply put. Right. And to test this out, I'm going to actually try it with two clients. All right. What are the odds that I can get it to stay perfectly right there? Just throw it slightly right. Ah, crap. Well, let's see. And it killed me. So that worked out. I don't even think I can pick it back up again, can I? But I can't throw it. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much a dud at this point. Alright, so the explosion and everything works. It did, in fact, kill us. I want to give one more attempt at getting it on both of ourselves. There we go. Yep. So it is, in fact, killing us, just like we intended. Alright. Now, the only thing left really is just to destroy the actor. I mean, just to destroy the grenade. Let's see, I didn't think too much about this. So what I'm thinking is, we're simply going to call it destroy and see what happens, because what I'm concerned with is, will it destroy the actor before the clients actually finish their on-rep event? And it didn't play any sound or anything like that. It was just destroyed pretty much immediately. So we're going to have to come up with a new method for this. What I'm thinking is a simple timer. Or you can even actually just destroy it on all the clients. Nah. Well, anyways, I'll end up doing a separate video probably on just dedicated to the destroying as I come up with a better way, as I cannot seem to think of one right off the top of my head that would be a good route. That's one, safe, that it's run on all the clients where this is relevant and that kind of thing. So I will see you in the next video where we set that up, and then we will also possibly in that video, maybe even a separate one, improve our, well, how we take the damage. So make it distance based and that sort of thing, as well as do the hit checkings. Well, I will see you then.